Hey guys, Platinum25 here, watching the launch of Sentinel-2B Earth observation satellite being launched by the European Space Agency atop of Vega rockets from Kourou in French Guiana. This is the Team Vega animation thing.
2, 1, stop, allumage et décollage.
How much we will see. These airlines are going to fly to Vega.
Hello and welcome. We are coming to you live from the Guiana Space Center for the launch of Sentinel-2B, an Earth observation satellite for the European Space Agency and the European Commission. It's on the pad there waiting for liftoff. That is scheduled in 14 minutes' time. Let's find out more about our mission now. Over to Stefan Israel.
Dear customers and partners, ladies and gentlemen, Arianespace is delighted to welcome you at the Guiana Space Center for this new Vega mission, the first of the year with our lightweight vehicle. For today's mission, Vega is set to launch the Earth observation optical satellite Sentinel-2B for the European Commission and its flagship program Copernicus in the framework of a contract signed with the European Space Agency. The satellite, dedicated to sustainable development through global Earth monitoring for environment and security, has been built by Airbus Defence and Space. Thanks to the European Commission, Arianespace's first institutional customer, and the European Space Agency, unwavering support of our activities, for your trust. Vega is now on the launch pad, and the operations linked to the final countdown are in progress. The launch is getting closer. Following liftoff, Vega will head towards the north to separate the satellite on a sun-synchronized orbit inclined at 98.6 degrees with respect to the equatorial plane and at an altitude of 786 kilometers. Sentinel-2B will separate 58 minutes after liftoff. But let's leave this launch together. Go Vega, go Sentinel-2B, and of course, enjoy the show.
So, as you may well know, we have 3 launch vehicles here at the Guiana Space Center. The big one is Ariane 5, of course.
Yes,
the middle one is Soyuz, and the baby of the family, but also the newest one, is Vega. That's the one that we're using today. There it is on the pad. It's actually about the size of a booster on her big sister Ariane 5, standing at 30 meters tall there and weighing in roughly at about a third of the size of Ariane 5. And if we take a look in the top of the launcher, there we can see our passenger inside, Sentinel-2B, weighing in at just over a ton, and that is an Earth observation mission for the European Space Agency and the European Commission. And I'm absolutely delighted that joining me here now on the stage is the Director General of the European Space Agency, Jan Werner. Jan, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You've actually got 2 missions here on the pad tonight, haven't you? You've got the Sentinel, but you've also got Vega, which is an ESA-developed program, so it's an important evening.
Yes, in fact, it's really 2 things, at least 2 things at the same time. So ESA is a European Space Agency. We are an intergovernmental organization with 22 member states, plus Slovenia, plus Canada. And this project, which we are doing together with the European Commission, is really an international one. It's what, as I have here on my arm, it's United Space in Europe, meaning we have Vega. I would not call it a baby with 140 tons weight, by the way. But anyhow, Vega, a European launcher of Italian origin, one can say. and then Sentinel-2B, the second one of a fleet of 2 satellites for Earth observation in the visible area. So it's a second one within the big Copernicus program, which is financed mainly from the European Commission.
And precisely, Sentinel-2B is a part of much bigger programs for the European Space Agency. Earth observation is clearly very, very important. Why is that?
If you look in the past, in the 60s of the last century, then space was something of the Cold War. It was a question of prestige. Today, space is totally different. It's infrastructure, and we at ESA, we try always to go a little bit forward with new exploration, with new explorer missions also in Earth observation, and then when we developed it, then they can become operational satellites. And therefore, today, space is infrastructure for Earth observation, for satellite navigation, for telecommunication, and for other purposes.
Jan Werner, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
And let's turn our attention now to today's mission. We've talked a little bit more about the bigger picture there. And joining me is Josef Aschbacher, who is the Director of Earth Observation Programs. Tell us about Sentinel-2B.
Sentinel-2B is a fantastic mission. It really is a mission which is measuring various parameters of the Earth's surface. It is used for agriculture, for forestry, for coastal monitoring, also for disaster management. So there's a variety of applications where Sentinel-2B really provides fantastic data with a new type of sensor, which is in fact a twin to Sentinel-2A, but with 13 channels, 10-meter resolution, every 5 days, global coverage of the Earth.
So we're going to get some very, very pretty pictures from 2B.
We get fantastic pictures from Sentinel-2B.
Now, we talked there about the importance of Earth observation missions. We know they're important for understanding our planet. Is there an economic benefit, though?
Sentinel-2B, or Copernicus in general, provides a huge economic benefit. In fact, there was some assessments done what is really the value, because we have to sell these programs to politicians, and they always ask the question, how much do we earn, or how much does it go back into society by investing all this funding into Copernicus? In fact, we have done external studies by PricewaterhouseCoopers, for example, and there it was communicated that €1 invested in Copernicus brings €10 back into the economy, due to better information or better decisions that can be made, and this really is an economic benefit.
Very, very quickly, Josef, this is your first launch as Director of Earth Observation Programs. What's going through your mind right now?
My mind is very tense, I'm very nervous, but very excited to see the rocket coming up.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. We have had teams working here at the base now for about 6 weeks to prepare. It's called the Launch Campaign.
The technical authority team's job starts with preparing the flight readiness review, which then gives the green light to start launch campaign.
This campaign began in mid-January with the launcher first stage transfer, the P-80. Then we integrated the second stage, the Zefiro 23, and the third stage, the Zefiro 9. We ended with AVOM, the upper B-liquid stage integrated on the top of the launcher.
Ceci conduit à peu près à mi-février.
In mid-February, we had launcher acceptance when the vehicle manufacturer handed the launcher over to Arianespace.
Since the arrival of the Sentinel-2B at the Felix Eboué Airport on January the 6th, the satellite was prepared and filled in the CSG facility, and we have done our best to support all the satellite activities according to the ESA requirements. I would like to focus on the last part of the campaign called Combined Operation, which illustrates especially the efficient involvement of all the teams. Stéphane, what does Combined Operation stand for?
Combined means that the satellite which have completed its preparation and fueling phase joins the launcher preparation phase to reach together the launch day. We succeed to pass the ambitious day of the upper composite transfer to the launch pad and then onto the launcher on the same day.
So after this transfer of responsibility, a new phase started called the final preparation. The upper composite was integrated on the launcher, then the fourth stage AVOM was filled, and finally we had the dress rehearsal with the launch base, followed by the launcher arming and ending with the final countdown.
So the VV09 mission target is to place Sentinel-2B into a synchronous orbit. So the first part of the flight will involve the three solid rocket motors, the P-80, the Z-23 and the Z-9. The fairing will be separated just after the ignition of the Z-9. Then after a short ballistic phase following the separation of the Z-9, the AVOM will be ignited for a first boost lasting about 7 minutes. At the end of this boost, the apogee is reached for the nominal altitude of the final mission for the spacecraft. After the completion of this boost, 40 minutes ballistic phase is implemented, and after this ballistic phase, second boost of the AVOM is performed for a duration of about 2 minutes, and then the separation of Sentinel-2B is performed.
So there you have it. That's what's coming up. And I'm back in my commentary box now. 4 minutes and 21 seconds to launch. The status panels are all green, and that means we are go for launch.
Attention pour la séquence finale lanceur, H0-4 minutes. Top, H0-4 minutes.
And there we have the beginning of the synchronized sequence. That was the range operations manager there announcing the beginning of that sequence. For Vega, it's 4 minutes, and right now the computers are controlling all the final checks in the countdown. They actually manage a very impressive list of operations. So this is the Mission Control Center, and there are a number of different teams working in here. Each team sits at a different desk, and that control center is about 15 kilometers or so from this pad. There's only one mission control center, but we do have several other control centers here at the base because each launch zone has its own launch control center, and this is the Vega Launch Control Center, and the teams here are watching over these final operations in the countdown. We've got several different teams. One is responsible for all the operations on the ground. They also coordinate with mission control for the final authorization to launch, and their quality team ensures that they follow procedures correctly. We also have another team which is responsible for the flight readiness of the vehicle, and they oversee all the operations from the assembly of the launcher to the moment of launch, and their quality team also ensures that everybody adheres to procedures. So they're about 3 kilometers from this pad. In fact, they're so close, they're in a blockhouse. It's called the bunker.
Because it's got like 2 meter thick walls or something.
There's the mission director, another key person here in the Mission Control Center. So we're 2 minutes to launch, and the final countdown actually started just over 9 hours ago. A few key events during that time. 4 hours and 40 minutes before launch, the onboard computer and loading of the flight program. And then 3 hours and 15, the mobile gantry was withdrawn. That took 45 minutes. Then about 48 minutes ago, the launcher system ready was announced, and we had the final weather check about 8 minutes ago. 10 minutes before launch, and the status panel for the weather is green, so that's a good sign.
À tous de DDO, attention pour H0-1 minute. Top, H0-1 minute.
We are 1 minute to launch. We are live at the Guiana Space Centre and we are launching Sentinel-2B for the European Space Agency, the European Commission, built by Airbus Defence and Space. Good luck to all the teams and also everybody watching us at the Satellite 2017 trade show in Washington. Our very best wishes to everybody. Let's watch the launch.
Oh, 30 seconds from launch.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité, top.
Boom.
Allumage
Look how
P80
quickly
et
that thing
décollage.
goes, like a shot. It's relatively light and has a lot of thrust.
La propulsion est nominale. Paramètres à bord normaux.
Its parameters normal. Normal? Come on.
And we're off. Sentinel-2B is on its way. Look at Vega
Les paramètres à bord sont
Blazing.
normaux, la trajectoire est nominale.
blazing a trail across the equatorial skies over the Guiana Space Centre, heading north out over the Atlantic. We're just getting the rumble, the sound, if you like, of the launcher here at the Mission Control Centre. The job of the first 3 stages is to get us away from the Earth. Vega's pushing itself away from gravity. And we're burning the first stage. It's called the P80. That's because 80 is standing for the amount of propellant, 89 tons in fact.
I knew that the numbers
On the
did
bottom
have
left you
something
can
to
see our
do with
altitude
the
is
size, yeah.
35 kilometres above Earth. And in the middle our distance from the pad. That's actually the distance if you were to draw a straight line from the pad to the position of the launcher along the Earth. And then on the bottom right you can see is our speed. We're travelling nearly 2 kilometres per second, not per hour, but per second.
Acquisition de la téléviseur lanceur par la station de Saint-Jean. Séparation P80.
Second stage.
We've
Allumage du Zefiro 23.
separated the P80 and lit the engine now on the Z23. And joining me in the commentary box here is Guido Levrini. Guido is the Copernicus Space Segment Program Manager for ESA. That means that he oversees all the Sentinel satellites. It's great to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed, Guido.
Thank you for having me.
Guido, you also know quite a bit about Vega. And although it was developed by ESA, it actually started out as an Italian project, didn't it?
Not quite, not that completely. Vega grew out of joint cooperation between the US and Italy back in the
Scout
70s.
program.
It was a project called Scout. It was launching from a base off the coast of Kenya, near the equator. And at a certain point in time, in 1992, the US withdrew from this cooperation, and Italy continued alone on a new program called Zefiro. And Zefiro in Italian is a name of a wind, and it was based on the carbon fiber technology. And Vega, which in Italian stands for Vettore Europeo di Generazione Avanzata, or Advanced Generation European Vehicle, is a launcher developed by the European Space Agency. So it's an ESA project, but you're right, the prime contractor is Italian, is ELV, which is a joint venture between the Italian Space Agency and Avio, who is a company based in the south of Rome.
And right now we are flying like the wind, burning the Z for Zefiro, second stage, and now
Séparation du Zefiro 23.
about to switch on the Z9, Zefiro 9. My pronunciation's probably a bit wrong. I think it's Zefiro in Italian.
Allumage du Zefiro 9.
Zefiro.
And the next
Séparation
phase,
Macoif.
separation of the fairing, which we don't need anymore because we are 131 kilometers above our planet, and we don't need it because there's hardly any friction. Vega's going from strength to strength. Let's hear from the CEO of Avio.
Vega has set a world record in terms of accuracy and reliability, with 8 perfect launches in a row from the maiden flight in February 2012, exactly 5 years ago. Vega has demonstrated a unique ability to deploy satellites in multiple orbital planes with unprecedented orbital maneuvers. Vega is the smallest of the European launchers family operated by Arianespace. Vega was developed by Avio as the industrial prime and is manufactured at 65% in Italy, and for the rest across Europe by a team of selected and capable industrial partners. I'm speaking to you from our plant in Colleferro, where we produce Vega, and we are now developing Vega C, which will fly for the first time in 2019. Behind me, you see the production of the first carbon fiber motor case of the P120C, the solid rocket motor which will equip both Vega C and Ariane 6. This will be the world's largest monolithic solid rocket motor manufactured in carbon fiber. It is nearly 12 meters long, has a diameter of 3.4 meters, and contains 142 tons of propellant. Today, Vega will take to space Sentinel-2B, one of the satellites of the European constellation Copernicus. The Avio team, together with its industrial partners, Arianespace and the European Space Agency, had once again a chance to demonstrate the strength of Europe's space strategy, which hinges around our close collaboration and teaming. I therefore wish the best success to the 9th mission of Vega.
Interestingly, the carbon fiber that he mentioned there was used in a spin-off to build some great big structures inside. Oh, we have separation of the Z9 inside ITER, which is a nuclear fusion experiment. So our flight path, Guido, takes us north. Where are we going to be flying over?
We are actually flying at the moment over the Caribbean, and we will soon go over Canada, then over the Arctic, and then we will come down on the other side of the Earth. We will coast the, let's say, East Asia coast, and finally we will go over Australia, where we will separate our satellite. This will happen 58 minutes into the flight.
And the range operations manager is confirming there that we've picked up the signal at the Bermuda tracking station. That's in the Caribbean, one of the Caribbean islands in the north of the Caribbean. So we are now flying over the Caribbean. Why are we flying north, Guido?
Sentinel-2 is an Earth observation satellite, and these satellites are usually placed on an orbit that goes over the poles. This because, being on such an orbit, you exploit the rotation of the Earth underneath to image the whole Earth. You have to imagine that you're peeling an orange, and stripe after stripe you are peeling it completely. And these stripes, in the case of Sentinel-2B, are very, very wide, almost 300 kilometers, and this is what allows us to image the whole Earth with one satellite every 10 days, and now with 2 satellites every 5 days. And at our latitude, our meaning European latitude, every 3 days. There is no other system in the world that has this performance.
Premier allumage de la VUM.
So, Avon, the upper stage, has switched on its engine. That's going to burn for 7 minutes. So we've started the next phase of the journey because Avon has effectively taken the wheel, as it were.
Yes, it's his job now to deliver the spacecraft to the drop-off points at almost 800 kilometers, but this will go in steps. This will happen only in about 15 minutes from now.
And AVAM has started what we call the orbit-optimized guidance attitude.
Yeah, it continually recalculates the position to make sure that it's on the right track, and of course it deviates, corrects the position.
Sentinel-2B is on its way to join its twin. Together they will perform an important mission.
Kind of opposites of each other, on the opposite side of the Earth.
Noordwijk, the Netherlands. In an ESTEC clean room, the final preparations are being made for the transport of the Sentinel-2B satellite to the European spaceport in Kourou, French Guiana for launch. When in orbit, Sentinel-2B will join its fellow Sentinels and start to play a vital role in Europe's Copernicus program. Copernicus aims to provide timely, accurate and easily accessible information to monitor our environment, better understand climate change and mitigate its effects while ensuring civil security. The launch of Sentinel-2B will be another step in the deployment of the most ambitious Earth observation program ever developed.
Sentinel-2B is the fifth Sentinel which is being launched. We have 4 Sentinels launched already since 2014. Altogether there will be 15 satellites plus 5 instruments flying on other satellites of EUMETSAT. So we have a constellation of 20 satellites in its first generation which we are building up. So Sentinel-2B is number 5 in this very successful story.
Sentinel-2B's identical sister satellite Sentinel-2A was launched in 2015. And soon both satellites will fly in the same polar orbit 180 degrees apart. This will ensure that every spot on Earth can be covered in high resolution by the satellites at least once every 5 days. Sentinel-2 carries a wide swathe, high-resolution multispectral imager that provides images in 13 spectral channels. This optical data is then sent back to Earth, where this valuable data is being distributed.
Sentinel-2A is already supporting a lot of applications. They're ranging from, for example, agricultural applications where we can do yield forecast, to forest monitoring where we, for example, see deforestation. And besides that, there's plenty of other applications like inland water where we can look at the quality of the water. We can support river monitoring, but also coastal areas where we look at the changes in the coastal regions. On top of that, we recently changed also to acquire the Antarctic region, so we're also now looking at ice and glaciers.
Whether it's vegetation monitoring, deforestation, water quality or flood monitoring, the impact of the Sentinel-2 mission on everyday life is growing, impacting the lives of millions of citizens. It can also be used for humanitarian relief efforts in the event of disasters. With the launch of Sentinel-2B, the amount of data gathered and fed to these applications will double. The Sentinel-2 satellites are the result of a close collaboration between ESA, the European Commission and the European space industry.
Sentinel-2 is a spacecraft which harnesses many competencies and talents from the European industry. The prime contractor is Airbus Defence and Space in South Germany, located in Friedrichshafen. And I would underline as well the payload instrument designer, which is Airbus Defence and Space in Toulouse. But underneath those two major industries, you find about 55 companies who have produced the various elements that compose this very performing system: hardware, software, test facilities. All of that is very important to be able to deliver the high quality and performance mission, which is the one demonstrated with the first spacecraft in orbit.
With the Sentinel satellites and the Copernicus program, the European Space Agency, ESA, and the European Commission continue to work on monitoring and protecting our planet and the people who live on it.
And during that film, we picked up the signal that the Saint-Hubert or St. Hubert tracking station, that's in northern Canada. And we're tracking the launcher using telemetry. And for anybody who's unfamiliar with that, Guido, what does that mean?
While the launcher is following its path, it's tracked by radars, but it also sends continuously information on the ground, signals on the ground on the state of its equipment on board. And this is what we mean by telemetry.
And those tracking stations send the information that they've collected from the launch vehicle here to the CVI. The CVI is the Real-Time Visual Control Center here at the Guiana Space Center. And the teams collect the information and analyze it in real time to check how the flight is progressing. And they also analyze it to check how things went afterwards to see if they can make any improvements.
And these are the people that pass the information to the range operation manager, who is sitting here in the mission control, and he announces this confirmation of the major event to all of us.
Flying now at nearly 8 kilometers per second, our speed on the bottom right. And on the top right-hand corner, our trajectory. So Sentinel-2A was launched 2 years ago, and of course 2B is on its way to join it, Guido. Why do we need a couple of satellites, briefly?
We need 2 satellites because Copernicus is all about delivering an operational system. It's an operational system, so you need robustness. And it's all about, let's say, constant monitoring of the Earth. And to achieve that, you need a high revisit, as we call it, which means you have to pass on the various places of the Earth more often, very often. And you achieve that with 2 satellites.
And we now have switched off our engine. The Avum upper stage has switched off its engine, and we have entered what's called the ballistic phase. He's just told us that we've started the orientation before the ballistic phase. And everything's going according to plan. So why did we switch the engine off now, Guido?
So now the big first boost of the Avum has finished. It has placed our satellite and the Avum on an elliptical orbit, and we are now raising our altitude on this elliptical orbit up to the final orbit, which is just below 800 kilometers. And at that point in time, we will circularize our orbit. We will switch the Avum off on again. So at the moment we are heading up, following the laws of physics.
And here we can see the teams at ESOC, the European Space Operations Center. That's in Darmstadt in Germany.
Yes, these are our colleagues that will take control of the satellite as soon as the satellite will be separated, and will control the satellite for the rest of its lifetime, which is quite long, is 10 years. So they are very tense. The moment of action is coming soon for them. And this is the control room, the mission control room, but next to the mission control room there is also a big social event. And we'd like to take this opportunity to send our greetings to all our colleagues there. There are startups, small companies, students, academics, Earth observation experts, the media. And if you want to follow the debate, remember, hashtag Sentinel-2Go. Hashtag Sentinel-2Go.
And you can take a look at that and join the debate on the social media networks. Also, Guido, you've been telling me about an app, and I want to tell everybody about this because it sounds quite fun. What's it called and what does it do?
Come on, let us spit it out.
Just a replay here. We lifted off about 17 minutes ago from the pad here at the Guiana Space Center, and beautiful launch.
So you were on about
and you were going to tell us about your app, Guido.
Yes, I invite everybody to download. It's free from their store, an app called ESA Sentinel, so ESA, like European Space Agency Sentinel, and you can see in real time where the various sentinels are located in the sky. And if you do that when we are having our break, I invite you to locate Sentinel-2B on the hub. This is your challenge.
This is your challenge, your mission ahead. We, as you say, are going to take a break now because we have a ballistic phase. We're going to come back to you in about 23 minutes' time, 23:31 Kourou time. See you then.
Alright guys, I'll pause the video here, and I'll see you guys once they come back. See you then.
We are 42 minutes into the launch of Sentinel-2B, an Earth observation satellite for the European Space Agency and the European Commission. Right now it's hurtling across space attached to what's left of the launcher. So we lifted off from the pad at 10:49 Kourou time. Here's a reminder of the launch. Quite spectacular, as always. We were lucky, actually, because we've had a lot of rain and a lot of clouds over the last few days. And even though we still had some cloud, it managed to clear enough for us to have a really beautiful launch. And they're off. And there we could see the launcher blazing a trail across the night sky there. We were using the Vega, 9th Vega launcher. We lost the P-80 and then the Z-23 second stage. Next, the fairing departed, was jettisoned. There you have it. We could see our satellite for the first time. And then we switched on the AVM, the upper stage, for 7 minutes. It then switched its engine off, and we have been in the ballistic phase, which is a 40-minute ballistic phase, and we'll be getting ready to switch on our engine again shortly. Now, Vega has already taken 22 satellites into space, and it is going from success to success. And joining me to talk about that is Marino Fragnito, who's in charge of Vega for Arianespace. What's the secret to that success, Marino?
The two main factors of our success is our reliability and the quality of our product. So when I say reliability, I mean reliability in all aspects, technical, programmatic, and schedule. If I make the example of this launch contract, we signed it only a few months ago. We committed on a schedule and we kept it. We are here on time. So when we commit, we deliver. And we never promise without delivery. And talking about the quality of our product, so Vega is very simple. It's easy to integrate, easy to operate, and extremely efficient.
Now, Marino, we know that the market for very small satellites is booming, but not everybody can afford a dedicated launch. Do you have a solution?
Yes, so Vega has already launched multiple satellites. We had 2 launches with a multiple satellites configuration. The last one was in September 2016. When we launched 5 satellites in 2 different orbits. So we want to offer this kind of solution to customers who cannot afford a dedicated launch or even a double launch. So there is an ESA initiative at the moment, which is called L3. This is aimed at offering an opportunity to small satellites and especially institutions or small companies with low budgets or even universities who cannot afford a launch solution. So we want to build a cluster of these satellites to launch them in the second half of 2018. We will select this cluster and, on the basis of the request that we will have, and I invite the customers to approach us and ESA to make their request. Yeah, and this is by the end of March, the deadline to apply for this kind of opportunity.
Now, just very, very briefly, Marino, you've got 2 new rockets, Ariane 6 and Vega C.
So the driver is to bring costs down. We want to reduce the prices to our customers, and what we will do is that we will improve the operational concept and optimize processes to reduce the costs.
And we will use modularity because Vega C and Ariane 6 will use the same engines, which will be in turn the first stage of Vega C and the strap-on booster on Ariane 6. And I have to say that we're building the future of European space, but we're also making space more affordable to everybody.
Good to hear it. Thank you very much indeed, Marinho Fragnito. Now over to our satellite, Sentinel-2B.
There's not much.
A farm east of Prague in the Czech Republic. The 1,000-hectare family farm of Ondrej Bacina aims to be a modern technology-driven farm. To achieve this, the most recent developments in agricultural technology have been implemented. Today on Ondrej's farm, land management is done with the help of satellite imagery and data. And for the farmer, this really makes a difference.
Tak určitě vnímáme na naší rodinné farmě.
In our family farm, we understand that imagery, satellite, and we also tried online sensors, are very important. It increases the efficiency of human resources, allowing us to minimize negative effects on the environment. So that's a crucial argument for us to keep the land in a sustainable quality, allowing to do the farming for our children in the future. Since 2016, some European Union member states have integrated Sentinel satellite data into the process of the controlling EU agricultural subsidies. In the Czech Republic, this is managed by the State Agricultural Intervention Fund, the so-called paying agency located in Prague. They use remote sensing techniques in the framework of a European Common Agricultural Policy. The Sentinel data can, for instance, be used for national crop type mapping before the end of the season. The Sentinel satellites have the potential to increase the efficiency of the agricultural subsidies administration.
Due to the frequent data capture and the wide area coverage, Sentinel data allows us to carry out several activities. So, for example, Sentinel's data allow us to carry out the land use type and crop type classification, and also regular monitoring of several agriculture activities, for example, verification of plowing or grassland cutting, and therefore it could bring the mutual synergy among the farming community and the paying agency institutions in managing the agriculture area-related subsidies. And furthermore, it could also support the stronger synergy among the environmental and agriculture policies.
To receive agricultural subsidies, farmers have to launch an application each year. This application includes a declaration of the agricultural parcels and their use. With the use of Sentinel data, these declarations can now be more easily verified by the paying agency. For the farmers, this application is more than a tool to receive subsidies. It may also represent a smarter way of managing their fields. This is known as precision farming. Frequent satellite observations allow the farmers to create time series on the status of their crops in a timely manner. Through these tools and information, the farmers can better assess the success of their operations. This approach to farming management is now possible thanks to companies like GSAT, Geographical Information from Satellites, based in Prague. GSAT processes satellite imagery so as to make it understandable and usable in many areas. Operating since the 1990s, today GSAT employs 20 people processing satellite data. They offer a lot of different applications in a range of sectors. And in recent years, they have seen agriculture becoming an increasingly important activity.
Specifically in case of agriculture monitoring or agriculture application, the availability of Sentinel imagery really brings new opportunities for the commercial companies like us, because the availability of free data, availability of data in a really fragment manner allows the analysis of vegetation development, vegetation monitoring, which was not possible in the past.
ESA continues to work closely with the European Commission. to understand the full range of opportunities Earth observation can contribute to modernizing and simplifying the common agricultural policy. Indeed, with more and more satellite data, the benefits are clearly visible on Earth. And agriculture is an excellent example of what operational systems like the Sentinels can bring to our society.
And during that film, we picked up the signal at New Norcia. So, some very exciting technologies on board this satellite and its twin. And it was built by Airbus Defence and Space as prime contractor, leading teams of industry.
Nearly at the second mission.
And Airbus is heading a team of nearly 60 industries working on this satellite. And Guido's joining me back in the commentary box here, our Sentinel expert. Guido, it just shows, doesn't it, the level of industrial expertise here in Europe for Earth observation.
Absolutely. In Earth observation and in space in general, we have to say. I mean, these projects are extremely complicated and they bring together many people from different countries, also different culture. Let's say Europe is culturally very rich. And we mentioned, and rightly so, Airbus Defence and Space, but we should credit each one of the companies who work on this project because each element is essential to success. In space, the slightest error can be the last one and very vital. So credit to all of them.
Everyone can feel very proud. And I'm just going to remind everybody very quickly about the app, but I will remind everybody about that in just 1 second because we have switched our engine back on. This is an important moment. The Avum upper stage has switched its engine on. And why now, Guido?
You might remember that after the first burn, the one that lasted 7 minutes, we went on an elliptic orbit. For those who are more familiar with cooking with geometry, is the shape of an egg. And now we reached the apogee, and we want to stay at this altitude, which is the right altitude. And therefore, we need a second burn, is much shorter, 2 minutes only, to circularize our orbit. So we are going to stay on this orbit now.
What altitude do we need to reach in order to separate the spacecraft?
The Sentinel-2A is a 786 kilometer, and we want to reach an altitude which is just below this one, because we don't want to cross the orbit of Sentinel-2A, which, by the way, is somewhere else, so it's also separated in space, but just as a safety measure. So we're going to separate a little bit below 786 kilometer, and this is going to happen very soon. We are less than 2 minutes from this event.
He's telling us that everything's going according to plan there, everything is nominal, and we're tracking at the moment using the new Norcia tracking station. Where is that?
It is in Western Australia, and it is a station of the Launcher ground station network. And this is the station that will see the separation of the satellite. Now the AVUM is going to be switched off.
Extinction de l'AVUM.
And we have confirmation of that. It's switched its engine off. Again, same question, why now?
We are now reaching the right place in the sky, the right orbit, and in about 30 seconds, the separation command will be executed, and the satellite will be separated by the AVUM, so by what remains of the rocket, and its life will start. And the first thing that it will do, it will send automatically the signals to the ground station of the satellite network.
And separation.
And we have confirmation there that Sentinel-2B has separated